several days after you escape Steelborough. Legol helps you row aimlessly through the desert. Either one of you is liable to pass out at any moment. The sand skiff you stole as you fled the city has proven handy for getting around. But there isn't a scrap of food nor a drop of water aboard. You probably should have had more of a plan, you think to yourself. The two of you row in complete silence. You fear if you make so much as a peep, the sheer effort involved will cause you to collapse. You propel the boat forward with all your might, when suddenly, a patch of quicksand swallows your sand skiff whole. Where are we? You look around, trying to figure out where the quicksand has spit you out. At the very least, your tight grip on the boat has prevented you from getting separated from Legol. But in a desert this vast and empty, there's no telling how far the quicksand might have taken you. "We better find some water," Legol grumbles, shaking sand out of every possible crevice. His comment snaps you out of your bewilderment. You nod at him and begin searching your surroundings for potable water. Unfortunately, your legs are less cooperative. They may as well be made of lead. You're so thirsty, even the act of breathing feels painful. The sun's rays beat down upon you. It's so hot. You need water. Your head is killing you. You open the treasure chest to find a bottle glimmering in the sunlight. You snatch it up, but it's empty. Legol's shoulders drop in unison with you. Lift your head. There before you, impossibly, walks Ram, your plush animal. No. You shake your head. That isn't real. As consciousness threatens to forsake you, you catch sight of a young man. "You've come at a very good time," he chirps. "Ah, so you seek the compound formed from hydrogen and oxygen," he says excitedly, launching into the beginning of a very long speech. His words flow as quickly as the quicksand that brought you here. Legol musters every last ounce of his strength to try and interrupt the torrent of babble, when suddenly, a monster's cry issues from behind the youth. "You see, I was about to be attacked by foul beasts," the youth says, beaming. "Yes, you've come at a very good time indeed," he chirps again, which must be his way of asking for your help. You certainly haven't the strength to escape. Looks like you're in for a fight. Calling upon the steel primal helped you fell the monsters. But before you can catch your breath, "What on earth was that?" the youth says, rushing up behind you from his vantage point for the battle. He peppers you with questions and comments in his breathless style. "That was the steel primal, wasn't it? The fact that you can control it means you're one of the fabled I had no idea you actually existed. Well, if today isn't my lucky day, if you don't I have deduced that the card you're holding there is the key to controlling them, but beyond that, Ugh. Whew. This guy sure can talk." He pays your pained expression no mind as he carries on, finally realizing that he has yet to introduce himself. The young man's name is Polka, and he's on a long, winding journey in pursuit of monsters to study. As if you hadn't heard enough, he asks if you'd like to hear an explanation about the primals. You agree that you would. As the words leave your lips, you realize just how addled the heat has left you. Polka, however, hasn't even done you the courtesy of waiting for an answer. He's already chattering away about the primals. There are 3 kinds, he tells you at breakneck speed. In addition to the steel primal, there exists a fire primal and a frost primal. And all are powerful enough to cause changes in their natural environment because of reasons. Unfortunately, your fevered brain can parse no more of his blathering. "Look, we helped you, so give us some water already," Ligol barks, clearly out of patience. Finally, Polka closes his mouth for the first time since you've met. He looks rather contrite. For he, too, has no water on his person. You stare at him, speechless. "You know, I'm actually rather thirsty," he says, and collapses into the sand. Clearly, his was a thirst brought on by incessant blabbering rather than fleeing from monsters. You both look at Polka's crumpled form, and then at one another. Mind and body pushed well beyond their limits, the two of you finally surrender to sweet, sweet unconsciousness. You awaken to find yourself lying down inside a tent. Startled, you leap to your feet. "Well, you seem much better," a woman says sweetly as she enters. She says she found the 3 of you collapsed in the desert and nursed you back to health. You thank her and quickly ask where she's taken Ligol. She tells you Ligol woke up not long before. He and Polka are at a stall outside. You exit the tent to find several more lined up before you. It looks like you've been picked up by a caravan. You arrive at the stall to find Legol and Polka devouring food as if it were a competition. You heave a sigh of relief upon seeing them alive and well. Legol notices you as he reaches for a bit of food. He stays his hand and instead beckons you over. "Get in on this," he says between bites. You waltz calmly up to the table, snatch up an entire barrel of some liquid or other, and proceed to drink it dry. Having eaten and drank your fill, you offer thanks for the meal. According to Legol and Polka, a stout man treated them to their meal at the stall earlier. You find the man hurrying about busily and thank him for the meal. "Ah, you're all awake," he says with a satisfied nod. He introduces himself as the circus's ringmaster and explains that they're on a tour of the desert. As someone fascinated by the circus, you'd always wanted to talk with a ringmaster. It's your lucky day. Before you speak so much as a syllable, the caravan is beset by monsters. You all draw your weapons and prepare for a fight. Polka barges into battle unannounced. "I too shall fight," he proclaims. Legol asks if he can fight, to which Polka replies that it comes with the territory when one studies monsters. You're in for a world of hurt if you underestimate science, because science makes medicine, and you shouldn't underestimate that, Polka rambles, drawing his weapon. You take up arms shoulder to shoulder with Polka and prepare to fight. The ringmaster thanks you profusely for defeating the monsters. It seems the countless monster attacks are to blame for scattering his troop to the winds. He's at a loss for what to do. You notice, however, that the number of sighs he's peppered his story with feels very intentional. He looks your way rather bashfully. You suspect he wants your help. "Of course we'll help you," Polka blurts out before you can answer. "But the three of you expect fair compensation for the effort," he adds slyly. Polka turns to you and Legol, grinning from ear to ear. "Let's get going," he chirps excitedly. Did you hear him correctly? Yes, it seems like you did. And just like that, you and Legol have been roped into helping too. Legol objects, only to be drowned out by Polka's contemporaneous rebuttal, a treatise on the value of money and friendship in travel. And so it goes that you, Legol, and Polka end up combing the desert for lost circus troopers. You look out over the sea of quicksand as it sparkles. Sand doesn't sparkle, does it? No. No. It's filled with half-buried items. Having come to the same realization, Legol and Polka each pull out a rod and line. You ask what they intend to do with it. Go fishing, they respond. You've never had a chance to fish before, so you decide to help them. Each minute feels like an hour. Then, the rods whip sharply downward toward the quicksand at the same time, locking Legol and Polka in mortal combat. The rod bends in short fits and starts, showing a modicum of resistance. You help. Legol looks into the bag, neither overjoyed nor disappointed, and silently hands you its contents. You see a lone tent pitched in the middle of the desert. You approach it and peer inside, but nobody's home. Surely a circus performer must be around here somewhere. A mysterious voice calls from who knows where. You look around once more, but see no signs of life. There it is again. Clearer this time. You turn and look behind you. There's a severed head in the sand. Or at least, it looks severed. But the head frantically beseeches you for aid. Apparently it hid in the sand during a monster attack and could not free itself afterward. You all grab hold and pull in an attempt to dislodge the perhaps not disembodied head. And wouldn't you know it, it was attached to a young man who performs in the circus. He helpfully informs you that there are 2 others who were separated from the troupe during the attacks. He says they too may have hidden or otherwise disguised themselves. You resume your search, eyes primed to pick out anything unusual. There's a strange sound coming from this treasure chest. You open it to find a very alive young boy from the circus inside. "You saved me," he pants. "I was about to suffocate in there." The boy makes a beeline for his fellow performer's tent. You're quite surprised to see an open-air stall set up here. You poke your head into the stall just as the merchant within whips around to greet you. "Everything's on sale," she says, and casually mentions that her father might punish her for any unsold stock. The merchant says she'll return to face her father, bids you farewell, and begins breaking down her stall. Something catches the light in the sand. You pull it loose, revealing a somewhat tarnished bangle. That might be the bangle capable of freeing the Sand Prowler Czar, Polka blurts out. To hear Polka tell it, the Sand Prowler Czar was a monster that once ruled this region through fear and despair. And he's careful to note that some monsters still revere this Czar. Well, legend has it that the Sand Prowler Czar is sealed in the sand ruins, Polka explains. If Polka's telling the truth, then you're holding something pretty dangerous. You figure it can't hurt to keep something so potentially valuable and slip it into your pack. You sense another long polka lecture coming and start walking. You hear the sound of feet hurriedly whooshing through the sand as he tries to catch up. Those were just his feet, right? Yeah, had to be. You happen upon a tent pitched in front of some ruins. Might there be another performer within? You peer inside. Why, yes, the young girl you see before you may well be one of the performers, but she's rather tearful at the moment. "Are you with the circus?" Polka asks gently. The girl nods. "Yes, beast tamer. Circus," she says through her tears, before begging for your help. Wading through the fragmented words, you gather that a monster swallowed her performing partner and ran off. She goes on to lament that this is all her fault, as sobs rack her body anew. "We have to help her," Polka says softly. He declares that he cannot abide turning away from someone who's been separated from someone they care for. You're inclined to agree with him. So long as there are lives to be saved, you'll fight to save them. "Are you okay?" Legol asks carefully, sensing that you're in pain. You nod and begin walking toward the ruins. Wait a minute, Polka says suddenly. He begins tapping on the wall in several places, listening intently as he does so. There's nothing behind this wall, he says, pointing at one section of it. Not one to wait for permission, Legol strikes the section of wall with all his might. And what do you know? Polka was right. The wall concealed a hidden chamber. That's a scientist for you, Polka boasts, puffing out his chest. Science is awesome, you reply, jaw slack with wonder. The door is shut tight. It has a keyhole, which suggests the existence of a key. Perhaps a wall could be broken? Polka stops you. Wait a moment. That wall looks suspect, he says, before giving it a solid thwack. Legol shakes his head. We should just break it down. He hits it with all his might. And with that, the wall crumbles, revealing, to your surprise, a hidden passage. You attempt to open the chest, when suddenly a band of cackling monsters appears from the shadows. It looks like they were using this chest as bait. They waste no time in surrounding you and attacking. Having defeated the monsters, you decide to try opening the chest. And when you do, you find inside a key of seemingly little value. All the same, Polka picks it up and tucks it away, a pleased look on his face. One never knows when a key could come in handy. Let's take it just in case. You come across a weathered stone monument. The letters S-A-A-R are written on it, and there's a hollow where something clearly used to rest. The area around the stone monument is littered with what appear to be monster bones. The whole thing feels ominous beyond words, but you dig around in your pack for something that might fit the monument's hollow. Operating on a hunch, you reach for the tarnished bangle you picked up earlier and slot it into the hollow. It fits perfectly. So, the Sand Prowler Czar is sealed here, Polka says, his voice quivering. The monster bones littering the site begin to rattle. It sure looks like you've awoken the Sand Prowler Czar from its slumber. There's no getting out of this fight. Battle time. The Sand Prowler Czar is but a pile of bones once more, its body thoroughly destroyed. The menacing energy you felt around the monument and bangle has also vanished. Cracks form in the bangle, their crooked fingers reaching up every which way through the monument. It crumbles to dust in seconds. A treasure chest peeks out from beneath the rubble. Might this be the Sand Prowler Czar's treasure? You fling the chest open with glee and find an exquisite accessory within. The door is shut tight. It does, however, have a keyhole. You slide the simple key into the keyhole and turn it. There is a satisfying click as the lock opens. With a pleased look on his face, Polka thumbs his glasses back up on his nose. You swear you see something move in the darkness. The three of you carefully step toward whatever it is, only to find it's a monster. something squirms in the worm's midsection. She did say the monster swallowed her partner, Polka whispers, not wanting to injure the very much alive entity inside. You carefully begin slicing into the worm's stomach. When a rat pops out. You've ventured into the deepest part of the ruins, but there's no sign of the large monster or the girl's partner. What if the rat is her partner? You tilt your head in confusion, and the rodent scampers off out of sight. With no further leads to go on, you decide to return to the young girl for now and tell her what you found.
Choose get me out now.
You all resolve to leave the sand ruins immediately. You emerge from the ruins in time to see the beast tamer leaping up and down, the rat you freed earlier gathered up in her arms. Thank, partner safe, happy, she squeals through tears of joy rather than sadness. Oh, isn't that lovely, Polka says, smiling. You've got slightly more complicated feelings about it. The girl announces that she's off to rejoin the rest of the main troop and trots off with her companion in tow. This cactus doesn't look unusual at first glance. You reach out and touch it, but it wiggles? Whoa, it's actually a woman from the circus. You saw right through my disguise. I'm impressed, she says with a confident smile. She hurries back to her fellow performer's tent. Having found the remaining 2 performers the young man mentioned, you return to his tent. He thanks you warmly and makes way for the ringmaster's waiting caravan. The caravan is larger than it was when you left. Seems the troop members you rescued found their way back safely. The young man you rescued races over the moment he sees you. I found my way back. Thank you so much for saving me, He beams. The ringmaster is next in line, peppering you with praise as he wrenches your entire arm up and down in a forceful handshake. He proudly announces that you can eat and drink your fill as a show of his gratitude. Oh, and he absolutely insists you see the show. He's certain you'll love it. Finding yourself looking forward to the circus, you decide to invite Legol and Polka to come along, but they're nowhere to be found. It looks like they took off on their own. Thinking it would be much more fun to go see the circus together, you decide to look for the pair. You find Legol stuffing some kind of well-cooked meat into his mouth. Beside him is the beast tamer girl. When she notices you, she begins to thank you enthusiastically in crude language. However, your features harden when you see her looking lovingly at her monster partner. Seeing this, Legol asks, "You need something?" You invite Legol to come to the show and step away. "Hero, hero," the beast tamer shouts, clearly meaning to thank you. You find Polka holding a cup with some kind of golden liquid in it. A gentle-looking woman seems to be teaching him something. The woman whips the monster and roars with laughter. This little fellow sees this as a reward. Polka nods along. Aha, I see. This is most instructive. You're not completely sure what you're looking at. You decide to drag Polka away and take him to the show. You can hear the sounds of a lively crowd coming from the circus tent. The show must be about to begin. Stepping into the tent is akin to entering another universe. Clowns balance atop balls. Jugglers juggle objects with ease. Your first circus show is infinitely more impressive than all the images you'd conjured in your head. Unfortunately, you also find yourself too vexed to fully enjoy it. You cannot stop thinking about the girl making nice with that monster. The young boy makes a show of stopping his ball directly in front of you and holds something out to you. "Which one of these do you like best?" he asks with a wink. You point at the ring, but the boy simply keeps smiling at you. He makes no effort to hand it over. The boy points to his own round nose. You stare intently at his nose, but nothing happens. He then points to his hand. You look down at your own hands and... what? A beautiful ring has already found its way onto your finger. The boy sticks out his tongue, playfully mocking you. You cannot help but gaze at the prize that so wondrously found its way into your possession. The Beast Tamer is the next performer to take the stage. It seems she's going to put on some sort of monster show, as you'd expect. Though this time, she's joined not just by the rat, but other foul creatures. And just like that, the goodwill engendered by the young boy's gift evaporates, and your heart hardens anew. The Beast Tamer, however, has no idea that you harbor such simmering resentment, and begins her show. Or she tries to, but one of the beasts begins raging out of control. "Help!" the ringmaster shouts in a panic. You instinctively grip your weapon and leap out of your seat to confront the monster. The monster is nearly dead. You prepare to strike the killing blow, only for the Beast Tamer to leap between you and your prey. You unleash your fury upon the girl as she protects the monster. Polka's eyes widen as she easily parries your attack. "Listen, story," she says, hugging you so tightly you can hardly move. The Beast Tamer tells you it was her fault the beast went berserk. She accidentally trod on its tail as she issued her command. It wasn't the monster's fault, she says. Tears well up in her eyes. It was her own inexperience. She begins to sob. The ringmaster peels her off you and gives you his heartfelt thanks for once again saving the circus. "Allow me to introduce you. This is Trollis," he says. He follows up the introduction with yet another unexpected request. He wants Trollis to accompany you so she can further develop her skills. Apparently, the idea came to him as soon as he saw your masterful command of the beast in battle. Trollis, trembling, turns her gaze to you. You hesitate. "That's a fantastic idea," bellows Polka, agreeing in your stead. The Ghoul turns to Trollis. "We're all talking around you. Is this what you want?" Trollis thinks for a moment. "Yes, train," she chirps, nodding emphatically. Sensing no way to push back against the overwhelming force of Polka and the ringmaster, you agree to take Trollis along. She breathes frantically through her nose. Do best, she says eagerly. "This is shaping up to be a fun journey," Polka says, visibly excited. Polka has apparently invited himself to join your crew. Legol starts to say something, but Polka is already so deep into a speech that he loses the will. "We must celebrate the start of Trollis's training," the ringmaster shouts. Not a moment later, everything and everyone is in motion. The various performers jostle you about as they rush up to wish you the best and tell you to take good care of Trollis. As the dust settles, the performers settle to sleep wherever there happens to be space. You stealthily pack your belongings. You have to get out of here. This monster-loving circus just rubs you the wrong way. The shopkeep is sleeping. Try not to wake them. You reach out to wake Legol, to tell him you both should get out of. I'm awake, he whispers. You look more closely and see he too has packed his things. He must have known how you felt all along. The two of you agree to sneak out of the circus. You approach the exit to find Polka standing there, as though he were waiting for you. This is sure to be awkward. He approaches you. Can I tell you something? He asks, in a far more measured tone than you've ever heard from him. He begins to recount the story of his parents. They too studied monsters. One day, when Polka was very young, monsters attacked his village, killing his parents. His mother raced to get him to safety. She told him to run and began shouting, "The monsters, there." That was when the flames took her. Polka tells you that he began studying monsters in the hopes of one day understanding what she was trying to say. He lowers his head and confesses that he needs your help in order to do so. You sub-Terrans have the power I need to solve this mystery. I know it. You search his face. He's being sincere. You nod. Polka is no longer just someone you met, or just some scholar. He's you, an orphan. You tell Polka you'll help him once he answers one question. Does he hate monsters? Hatred reduces the mind's capacity for serious inquiry, he notes, his smile exposing gritted teeth. So, he's suppressing his hatred of them beneath a veneer of reason and logic. That'll do. Already leave? Comes another voice. Your chatter must have woken Trollis. Her strength will serve us well. We should bring her with us, Polka adds, sensing your reluctance. Serve well, Trollis parrots, sweeping you off your feet. Thus were your defenses eroded and your ranks bolstered. You depart the circus with your new companions.